You can always ask your library about interlibrary loan. That's a thing that really exists in college and is used quite heavily, especially for topics that aren't as prevalent, like they're not as popular, that everybody's researching the same thing. Talk to your librarian about that because they can find some super specialized things. There's a website called WorldCat that you can look on, and it's kind of an index of a lot of different libraries that has their holdings like listed on there. So you can look in WorldCat and say, oh, the University of Pittsburgh has this title, and then you can go to your librarian and say, hey, can y'all get this shipped to me? And they can, and it's amazing.
And that's one thing a lot of people don't realize, especially like the Tennessee public universities. They interchange materials a lot because they rely on state dollars and they kind of share their resources. So that's something that a lot of people don't realize is even an option. I think the internet is your good starting spot. I think you can gather some basic information. It can guide you to places to look for the information, like the bound periodicals. You can find the title of the article, but then go actually pull the article itself to read the entire thing. A lot of time the entire article won't be online. I like the internet to start with, but then I like the actual books, the things you can hold to do the physical research. That's just a preference kind of, I think, too.
And I think something too that a lot of students forget, and we had talked about this yesterday, is just because you found something in digital format does not make it an internet source. Like, I think people think, oh, well, we found this on the internet, but really it is literally a scan of a physical document, or it is a transcription of like a physical journal that was published, that was a print source at one time in its life. So being able to differentiate between, I found this on the internet from iknowstuff.com versus I found this on the internet from a database from a university where they digitized this book is a whole different thing.
In high school, it's a whole lot of 5-paragraph essays. Mm-hmm. It's a whole lot of gathering information to write your 5-paragraph essay. When you move to the college level, you're still writing a 5-paragraph essay, but you're now in an expanded form. You still have your introduction paragraph, you still got your body paragraphs, and you got your conclusion, but now you've got to be more detailed. You've got to gather more research to put in that to expand from just 5 paragraphs to maybe 5, 15, or 25 pages.
Mm-hmm. And also be extra careful, especially at the college level, with plagiarism. Because in the high school, we're like, oh no, you plagiarize, you get a 0. In college, you plagiarize, you might not be going to college there anymore because they don't really stand for that kind of thing. So, but there are things that you can do to guard yourself, right? Like, I think there's this misconception about plagiarism that I copied and pasted it and changed 3 words, so I'm good. Like, no, that's still plagiarism. Like, unless you are completely summarizing an entire 3 or 4 pages into 1 paragraph or just a simple phrase or 2, you're going to need to cite it with a quote. And I think the other thing is, you've got to get to the point where I'm not just finding a detail from this one source and not using anything else from it and just slapping it in my paper and saying I use this source. You need to get to the essence of whatever source that you're using and be able to really talk about that one source in depth. You're going to want to use the same source in multiple places, like not just I found one quote from it so I used it, check mark. You have to really know the essence of what you're doing. I think throughout college, it will a lot. Obviously, you're going to be writing research a ton, and then depending on what field you go into, formal research may become a part of your daily life. Like if you go into one of the sciences, if you go into like a social science, anything like that, you're going to have to research constantly all the time. If you want to be a professor in college, they research all the time. But I think it's just a good life skill too. Even if you don't always do a formal research paper, like if I want to know if somebody's telling me the truth or not on Facebook or on whatever, you need to have those same skills to be like, okay, well, let's see what else this person said. Well, let's see where they got that from. Well, can I search this and it's been copied and pasted 17 times from this other person? Like,
or just gathering information in general. I mean, people Google symptoms all the time. Yeah. And if they want to know whether they have, they're going to have this traumatic illness or if it's a reliable source, I mean, so you can always research no matter what you're doing.
It's a good life skill.